Okay, let's have specific heat. So specific heat refers to the amount of heat that accompanies a unique change in temperature for each unit mass. So ibig sabihin na nito, these are the heat requires for a substance to be raised or to be lessened its temperature per unit mass. So that's why ang unit natin ay joules per kilogram per Kelvin or BTU or British Thermal Unit per pound per degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So in estimation of specific heat of foods which are above the freezing point, okay, so meron daw tayong formula according to Toledo. According to Toledo, fundamentals of who is the author of the fundamentals of food engineering, food process engineering. So we could compute the average or average estimated specific heat of foods. Okay, so it could be 0.4 F. Ano ba yung F? This refers to the mass fraction plus zero point 0.2 of that of the solid non-fat. Okay, and M, which is the mass fraction of moisture. Okay, or it could also be a specific heat average or estimated specific heat average is 1674.72 times that of mass fraction of fat plus 837.36 multiplied to the mass fraction of solid non-fat and of course 4186.8 multiplied to the mass fraction of moisture. And if we're going to have the first equation, ang unit niya ay British Thermal Unit or BTU per pound degrees Fahrenheit. And for the second equation, the unit would be in terms of as a unit joules per kilogram per Kelvin. Okay, so let's have the example. What is the specific heat of beef roast if it has a composition of 15% protein, 20% fat, and 65% water? So in order for you to be able to get the mass fraction, S and F, and M. So you just have to convert the percentage into decimal. And that would be it. Okay. So for the fat, ito yung F. For the moisture, that would be the water. For the proteins, that would be the solid non-fat. Okay. So solid non-fat is 0.15. Okay. So asan ba yung ating solid non-fat? That would be 0.2 times ito yan. Kaya 0.2 times 0.15 or solid non-fat 837.36 times 0.15. Okay? For the fat content, which is 20%, so that would be divided by 100 to make it fraction 0.2. Okay? So 0.2 siya. So 0.2 would be for the fat. So that's why you have 0.4 F. Ito, 0.4 times 0.2 and or rather 0.2 times 1674.72. So that would be parang direct substitution, no? And then for the water, okay, for the water, sabi niya, ang kanyang composition ay 65%, which is eventually 0.65. For the first equation, just M, just the mass fraction for M, kaya ito, plus 0.65 lang siya. Whereas on the second equation, okay, so ito, 4,186.8 times 0.65, kaya ito naman. And then, of course, you get your calculator. You add, you multiply first. Multiply everything here. So, multiply, multiply, and multiply. Wala na pala itong multiply. Okay, you get the sum. That's why you're going to have the 0.76 BTU per pound degrees Fahrenheit. Or in terms of SI unit, okay, that would be 3,100 81.97 joules per kilogram per Kelvin. Okay, let's have another example. What would be the specific heat of orange juice concentrate with a solid content of 45%? So solid daw ito, solid content. Hindi naman niya sinabing fat. It is safe to say that this is the solid non-fat and the remaining percent is water. So as you can see, sabi niya kasi the remaining percentage is water, so you could safely assume that there's no fat here. That's why yung ating formula ng 0.4F or 1674.72F, you have here multiplied to 0 because fat is not present. Okay? So, whatever would be the remaining percentage, paano natin makukuha yung remaining percentage? Of course, that would be 100% subtracted or minus 45%. That's why you're going to have 55% for the moisture. Okay, so plug it in the formula. So you have no fat and then 0.45 mass fraction for solid non-fat and 0.55 for the mass fraction of the moisture. So you have total of 0.64 BTU per pound degrees Fahrenheit. For the SI estimated specific heat, so you have here 0 kasi nga again walang fat content, and for the solid non-fat 0.45 times ano ba yung nasa formula 837.36 plus the mass fraction of moisture, which is 0.55 multiplied to the constant 4,186.8, and put that everything in your calculator, and then you're going to have the 2,679.55 joules per kilogram per Kelvin. Now, if you will be asked which among the two, is it the 0.64 or the 2,679.55, ang higher specific heat? Alin kaya sa dalawa ang higher? Of course, ang answer dyan ay wala because we are only referring to that same or orange juice concentrate. Nagkaiba lang. Remember, you cannot compare two values with two different units. Okay, so the two, this 0.64 British thermal unit per pound per degrees Fahrenheit is just equal to 2,679.55 joules per kilogram per Kelvin. Okay, so you have those as the formula and problems for the estimation of specific heat of foods above freezing.